Yes, ladies and gentlemen, very good to see Adrian lead the Phenom up against Tye Ruotolo at One Fight Night 35. Adrian, always good to see you. How's it going?
Hey, going great. It's been a great camp, and I'm really excited for this fight.
Is it fair to say, as MMA debuts go, Adrian Lee is quite a test?
Yeah, definitely. When Tye Ruotolo called me out, I was really surprised. I was like, "That's a horrible idea." I think I'm a horrible matchup for you, but I'm excited. It's a great opportunity to me, and I plan on building off his momentum.
Are you excited to show levels in terms of MMA? Because we all know about his grappling, but in terms of being well-rounded, you've showcased your skills time and again since your debut, right?
Yeah, I definitely plan on showing that, there's levels to this game. You can't just grapple your whole life and train for MMA 2 years and think you can go into the pro league.
What are you expecting from him?
I'm expecting him to, I'm expecting everything from him. I left no stone unturned. He could come out striking like his brother did, could go straight into the grappling, but I'm fully prepared for whatever he has to offer.
How do you describe yourself as a mixed martial artist? Because your submission game has been pretty savage. Is that fair?
Yeah, yeah, I'd say that, you know, my mixed martial arts game is pretty complete, I'd say. I think that there's definitely a lot of things, a lot of areas in my game that I can work to improve on, but I really feel that I'm a mixed martial artist in the whole.
How intrigued are you by this test in terms of your own grappling? Because he is one of the best grapplers on the planet, isn't he?
Hmm. Yeah, I think that Tye Ruotolo, he is very accomplished in the grappling space, and it'll be a great test for my grappling too. I flew down some amazing grapplers that came in to help me with this camp, and I'm fully confident that if we go to the ground, I could submit him too.
You talked about your preparation being really good for this one. What are you particularly pleased with?
I'm pleased with everything. I have a solid game plan laid out, and I plan on getting in the ring and executing it.
You're a very hard worker. I think that showcased. I mean, we see it in your content as well. How do you stay motivated to grind every single day, even on days where you might not be in the mood?
Yeah, my motivation lies in, my love for the sport and my drive to become one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time. I really plan on, I was lucky enough to have the blessing of being, one of four children who's like mixed martial artists their entire lives, grew up training, and I plan on really taking advantage of that and showing what I can really do.
How do you stay balanced? What's your favorite thing to do to unwind after just grinding hard?
It's kind of hard to say. I don't know if this would really be relaxing, but I love ice baths. They're a great mental reset because especially, during the week, it's like training gets so hard some days you don't think you can keep going. And once you hop in that ice bath, it's kind of like a full mental reset. You're like, yeah, I can keep going.
I really enjoy your content in terms of giving fans an insight into the life of an elite MMA fighter. Can you tell us a bit about that? And do you enjoy making it? Like I like the piece you did with was it the meta glasses as well?
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, beforehand in like my first year of my career, I wasn't really focused on social media. I didn't really post much. I didn't really have a following, but starting this year, I was like, why not? Social media and how everyone perceives you is such a big part of the sport. And I was just, I was wanting to share a little bit insight into my life, and it's been fun. It's easy, fun creating content.
Do you think you've kind of found your way or found your identity now? Because everyone's different in terms of how they showcase parts of themselves. And I
Mhm.
don't necessarily think you need to share every bit about you, right? But I think the insight into being at the top is really cool. So do you think you've kind of settled into your style?
Yeah, I think that by now, or well, now, I think I definitely settled into, my own style. And I'm just gonna keep posting what I'm posting, keep showing what I'm showing, and plan on doing that all the way until I get up to the top.
Can you give us your breakdown of the fight? Of course, you're not going to give away your strategy, but just in terms of how you see it going, do you think he's just going to come out there and try and take you down as fast as he can?
Honestly, in the MMA game, one thing that's so great about it is you can't say anything for certain. I'm fully prepared for whatever he's gonna do first, but I plan on getting in there, finishing him by any means necessary, whether it be a knockout or submission.
Do you see any parallels with someone like Gary Tonon? Of course, their teams were rivals back in the day and different styles, but Gary managed to get himself a title shot by
Mhm.
being that guy coming from the jiu-jitsu world, right?
Yeah, Gary Tonon, he's a very accomplished MMA fighter and grappler as well. He has a lot more experience than Tye Ruotolo and Cade, definitely in the MMA aspect. But it kind of goes to show what happens when an MMA fighter fights a grappler, like the fight with Tan Lee or I think that really when fight day comes to show, I'm really gonna show why there's a difference.
Is there any chance we see you submit him?
I think that's definitely a very high possibility you could see. I'm fully confident in all areas of my game, and if it goes to the ground, I believe I could submit him as well.
Just how high level is your grappling? We know that submission grappling is on the
Mhm.
table at one championship. Is that something that's in your future?
Yeah, I'd definitely be interested in getting in a grappling match as well. I feel like even though I haven't been competing in these mainstream grappling tournaments, I fully believe that I can keep up with anybody.
Is this potentially the start of a rivalry? You guys are two young phenoms, big futures ahead of you. Could we see this, develop into something, do you think, just because of your skill set?
To be honest, I don't really see a rivalry happening because I plan on making a clean sweep and, really putting a stamp on this, rivalry.
You are a finisher, right?
Yeah, me and my family, we are finishers by in all means, There's no use in leaving it to the judges. I plan on taking them out.
Do you look forward to being tested at some point just because in terms of going to deep waters just to find out about yourself because until now you're quite emphatic, you finish fights fairly early.
hmm Yeah, I don't really feel the need to drag out the fight any longer than it needs to be. If the day does come where the fight gets dragged out longer, 2, 3 rounds, I'll be fully prepared for it. I train in and day out to prepare for that scenario. And if that day comes, I still plan on coming out on top.
Yeah, you don't get paid by the minute.
Yeah.
This is fair. And I thought there was going to be Cade, honestly. I'm pretty sure we had a chat about it in Tokyo. Were
Yeah.
you shocked when it was his twin?
Yeah, I was very shocked. I was like, this is not a good match for you. I think that it was a horrible idea of him calling me out, but it's a great opportunity for me. I can just go and get in there, take his momentum, and keep going on with my MMA career.
Have you been impressed with Cade in MMA so far?
I think that Cade has found some good success early on in his career. He's had 3 finishes, but I think that definitely the levels are gonna start to show once he fights a more high level opponent.
How far are we from talking about you against, ranked fighters and even title shots? You're only 18, but if this goes your way, we're talking 4 finishes, right?
Yeah, honestly, I say the same thing I'd say all the time. I always take it fight by fight. After this fight, I'm just gonna get back in the gym and I'm just gonna be working my ass off. I train day in and day out, so I'm prepared for whoever they're gonna give me next.
And how impressed are you with the others in your weight class at the moment?
Yeah, I definitely think that there's a lot of really good contenders up in lightweight division, and I'd be happy to face any one of them.
I hear rumors that Christian's coming back. Do we know roughly when we're going to see him? Who he's going to defend against?
Yeah, I can't say it right now, but he's definitely gonna be back soon, and I'm excited for everyone to see what they've been missing out on.
What's he like as a coach?
My brother, as a coach, he's one of the best coaches ever. He has so much knowledge and insight, and I'm really happy to have him in my corner.
Who's the most exciting fighter right now in one championship? Who do you enjoy watching outside of you and Christian?
Well, my first answer would be Christian, but there's a bunch of exciting fighters. One of the Nabil, he had some outstanding performances, and I was definitely shocked after his win off of Nico, and then his fight with Superlek.
Have you been impressed with Regian Eersel? Like the guy is an absolute killer. Do you enjoy watching the strikers in your division?
Yeah, Regan, he's a very accomplished and skilled fighter as well. And I'm excited to see his next fight.
And who do you, in terms of just being, a Christian Lee fan, who do you think is the funnest fight for him right now?
Um, it's hard to say, I feel like any fight with my brother is gonna be a fun one. I think that whoever they give him next is in for a tough night.
And he plans to move up, right? I mean, he plans to eventually say goodbye to lightweight. So will that open the door for you?
Yeah, I feel like would be a great scenario is when I make it to the top and it's time to move up the division. We plan on being sibling world champions.
Is there a chance we'll see you make a call out at the end of this fight?
Maybe not, we'll see how it goes, but I'm not really one for call outs, I kind of just like I get in there and I do the fighting. The
So
promoters and the matchmakers can do that and I'm gonna get in there. I'm gonna fight.
so far so good. Do you have any message for Ty?
My message for Ty is you're in for a rough night, is not gonna be a fun night for you.
And how about the fans?
The fans, I definitely say make sure to tune in, make sure to get in there early because it's gonna be a fast one as always.
Awesome, Adrian. Thank you so much. Always good to see you. I don't know how many interviews you've done today, but I really respect your time and
Yeah,
thanks
of
for your
course.
answers.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. It's
Cheers,
great.
man.